So feeling your arms all the way from your fingertips, relaxing. And your hips nice and heavy as they draw back. And just taking a few moments to check in with your body and check in with how you're feeling today. And sometimes it can feel a little bit repetitive, I guess. It's like, oh, but I checked in yesterday. I was fine yesterday. Do I have to do it again? Yes. It's nice to check in. You're different today. Different things happened yesterday. So always before we begin, just take the time to notice your body and notice how you're feeling. And it might be similar to yesterday, but you might notice you feel completely different today. Maybe you have more energy, maybe you have less. Maybe you're feeling muscles that you didn't feel yesterday. Just starting to connect to your breath. And you don't have to change your rhythm or change your pace. You just have to be aware of your breath. Be conscious of it. And every time the mind wanders or drifts today, let your breath be your anchor to draw you back to this present moment. And doing this each and every time, let you notice the mind drift. And then feel how by focusing entirely on your breath, you can find a little bit more space, release in the muscles. Find a little bit more calmness in the mind. If your hands are down by your sides, reaching them all the way out in front. And coming up high onto your fingertips. So lifting the elbows off of the ground. Good. And then reaching the fingers and pressing them down into the mat and drawing them back towards your knees. And feeling that lengthen in the arms. And that connection of all 10 of your fingertips evenly padding down into the ground. And then use this connection on your inhale to draw you forward into the tabletop. All the way up onto your hands and knees. Bringing the knees hip distance apart. Spreading the fingers nice and wide just for a few cat-cow poses. So when you inhale, feel your belly drop. Feel your butt stick up and your chest reach forward. And then on the exhale, rounding through the spine, chin to chest. And really tuck the chin in. So let the head relax. Continuing to flow through these 2 poses. So feeling movement in the spine this morning, but also feeling that connection to the ground. So staying super present and super mindful of the moves that you're making. And as soon as you notice that your mind might wander, we tend to put more weight in the wrists and more weight in the knees. And this can just put a little bit extra strain on these joints, a little bit of unnecessary strain. So stay focused and press all 10 fingers down as you make these cat-cow movements. And press the feet into the mat rather than putting all of the weight on the knees. And if it's better to close your eyes, then allow your eyes to close. And start to really notice how these movements feel. Maybe feel the back arching a little bit more in the cow pose as you feel that release in the lower back. Maybe tucking the chin and drawing the belly button up a little bit more as you feel that widening of the shoulder blades. and the space in the upper back. And from your cat-cow poses, starting to make some circles or swivels with the hips, and super slow. So it's never about just like ticking the poses off and being like tree, cat, cow, tick, downward dog, tick, sun salutation, AB, tick, tick, done, breakfast. About staying super connected, not worrying about what comes next, not dwelling on what happened before, but staying connected to this moment and these movements. And you'll find that the more connected you are to what you're doing, and the slower that you move, the better that it can feel for your body. So you might notice areas that are a little bit tight, and then you can pause there and allow them to release. Begin to become aware of all parts of you. Moving in the opposite direction, maybe adding in like a upward dog sort of pose, all the way back into child's pose. Feeling the movements in the wrists as you swivel and sway, in the elbows, in the shoulders, into the neck as you continue to tuck the chin and lift the head up. There's not a way that this is supposed to look. It's how it feels. And if it feels good, and if we're aware of our breath, then it's perfect. So just taking a few more movements, and then we'll all meet back in the child's pose, but take your knees as wide as comfy. So bring the big toes together, and then press the body all the way back. Either palms facing down or palms facing up, doesn't matter. And then let the body sink back into this. So feeling this nice stretch all the way, top of the feet, front of the shins, the thighs, and down the sides of your body, into the entire length of your arms. And breathing into all of this extra space. And keeping the breath flowing consistently. So aiming not to hold the breath at the top of an inhale or an exhale, but letting one sort of just melt into the other, flow into the other. So it's this continuous stream of inhale and exhale. Guys, placing all 10 fingers flat on the ground. Inhale and round all the way forward into your tabletop. And then tuck the toes under. On the exhale, press all the way up for downward facing dog. Perfect. And then the same with like the cat-cow tabletop. Any movements that you want to do in your downward dog, please feel free. And it might feel nice to sort of bend one knee across the opposite side of the body. Sort of like a little twist, I guess. It might feel nice to lift both of the heels off of the ground. It might feel nice to bend both of the knees. Doesn't matter. Maybe it feels good to come into like an upward dog variation. Maybe that feels great for your back today. It's usually going to be different every day. Similar, yes. But the movement's probably just that little bit different. So don't do what you always do. Don't do what felt good yesterday. Do what feels good today. Make sure that you're really pressing all 10 fingers down. Really protecting the wrists. And then eventually finding some stillness in your downward dog. You can have the knees bent as much as you like. You can have the heels lifted off the ground as much as you like. Take a deep breath in and lift the heels as high as they will come off the ground, but keep your chest pressing back. And on the exhale, 1 foot at a time, walk nice and slow all the way to the top of the mat. You can hang in your ragdoll pose. Bring the feet about hip distance apart, bend the knees a ton. Good. And then either let the hands hang heavy, hold on to opposite elbows either in front of the knees or behind. Maybe clasp your hands around the back of your head. And let the neck really relax. So taking the gaze somewhere, I guess, between the back of the mat and the belly button. Somewhere in this area. And you'll know it, like you'll know when the neck is relaxed because it would be like this extra space that you almost immediately feel. And feel like the neck muscle is not having to do anything, just relaxing. And if it feels nice to sway gently, maybe you start with little swaying movements in the head or the shoulders, the hands, the torso, the hips. Maybe it's only one of these areas. Maybe it's all of these areas. And start to sort of gently sway. Maybe it's none of these areas. It feels nice just to hang. Focusing completely on your breath. And then release the hands. Bend the knees a ton. Inhale all the way up to standing. Strong legs, strong core and strong arms. Reaching all the way up. And then exhale, hands into the center of the chest. Looking towards the fingertips and feel the elbows and shoulders nice and heavy. Bend the knees just a tiny bit. And then inhale, sweep the hands all the way up. On the exhale, hinge from the hips nice and slow. Come all the way down. Bend your knees as you come. It's a little bit nicer for the lower back. And then inhale to halfway lift. So lengthening everything. We'll stay just for a few breaths. So connect your hands to either your legs or the ground out in front, doesn't matter. And then stick your butt up a little bit further. So you'll feel that stretch now in the hamstrings. And then lift the chest a little more and draw the shoulder blades together. Then take the gaze towards the toes. So the neck stays nice and long. So rather than sort of looking forward and like cranking into the back of the neck, look down and draw the shoulder blades away from the ears. Press both feet evenly into the ground as you lengthen the legs. One more deep breath in. And then on the exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold all the way down. Plant the palms and take a big step back with the right leg. And then drop the right knee down. Good. Inhale, just the left hand. Sweep all the way up. So just the left hand. Squeeze both of your thighs towards each other. And so you feel the left sole of the foot nice and even and flat on the ground. And then just as much weight is in the right hand, reach up with the left. So if I was to ask you guys to like sort of hover the right hand off of the ground, nothing much in the pose would change. So that's how much activation we have in the legs and in the core, through the back and into the top hand. Deep breath in. And then exhale, lower down. With both hands sweep up. Inhale into low lunge. So strong through both legs and strong through both arms. As you reach up, imagine you're creating more space from hips to ribs. So as your hips really anchor down, feel your ribs sort of lifting up and out, creating more space. And then exhale, hands down either side of the front foot. Inhale, step all the way back, half balancing table. So the left leg steps all the way back. Yeah. Then on the inhale, the right hand lifts, full balancing table. Really strong, both limbs that are lifted. On the exhale, bend the left knee, reach around, grabbing hold of your foot. The outside edge will usually open up our shoulder a little bit more. And then press into your hand as you look forward. Good. Feeling that nice opening through the front of the chest. Excellent. Inhale, balancing table. And exhale to release down. Deep breath in here as you push the ground away from you. And then exhale, chest, chin, super slow to the ground. Stick your butt up nice and high. Reach the chin all the way out in front. Feel that release in the lower back first. And then inhale, scoop forward into cobra pose. So press the hips down. Maybe hover the hands, or if the hands are staying on the ground, just light weight. Draw the shoulders down and back, and draw the belly in. Yeah, exhale and lower down. Tuck the toes. Inhale, press back for child's pose. And then exhale, lift the butt, lift the hips all the way up into downward facing dog. Good, guys. Again, any movements that you need to make. It could feel so good to bend one knee across the body and then bend the other knee. It might feel nice to really bend both knees and come up high onto the tippy toes so you keep that softness in the lower back. It might feel better to do nothing, so stay nice and still. And then when you do find stillness in your downward dog, on your inhale, the right leg lifts. So lift the right leg all the way up. Perfect. And then bend the right knee and open the hip up. So bring your right heel even closer towards your right butt. Yes. And keep the chest pressing back towards your left thigh. Aim the right knee directly up towards the ceiling. And stay strong through all 10 fingertips. So good. Deep breath in. On the exhale, take a big step forward outside of the right hand. Outside of the right hand. And then drop the left knee down for a little lizard pose. So your back leg, the toes can be tucked or untucked, it doesn't matter. But make sure there's a little bit of activation in the back leg. It's common that it's behind us. We sort of forget about it. We're like, don't worry about it. I'll just put all my weight into the front. But use both of your legs evenly. So this will help us get a little bit more room in the front hip. So as we start to lower the hips down, the first part of the pose, keep the right knee in towards your right arm. Yeah. And you can stay up on your palms. Maybe you're more of a forearm lizard. So you try one. You try the other. Maybe you're one. Maybe you're two. But it doesn't matter if you are on your forearms or if you're on your palms. We want to keep the space in the front of the body. So we want to keep the hips lower than the heart, lower than the chest. So feeling your body sink down into this. But at the same time, feel your shoulder blades drawing together. So we create space through the front of the body. Awesome, guys. Second part of the pose, if you're on your forearms, you can stay. Turn your right toes out to a 45 degrees. Good. And then let the knee fall away from your body. So maybe you roll onto the pinky edge side of the foot. Be super, super careful with your knee, guys. Super, super careful. So whichever way the knee is facing, the toes are facing as well. So since the knee is sort of jutting out to the side, the toes are facing in exactly the same direction. This will offer the best protection. Yeah. And then you might be palms. You might be forearms. Choose whichever feels best. And then notice the muscles around your hip. And if they really start to like cling on, see if you can soften them just a little. So just a little. Not softening them so they're doing nothing, but just so they're not over tensing. Guys, slowly bringing the right knee back in. Keep the toes out to a 45 degree though. Tuck your left toes and come up onto the left knee and then step forward into the Indo squat or little frog squat. Good. And then bring both of the hands inside. Perfect. And put more weight into the outside edge of the feet because it's common to roll into the inner arches. So just put a little bit more weight into the outside edges and then lift the chest and draw the shoulders down. Perfect. Place the hands on the ground. Toes face forward. Inhale to lift the butt and hips. And then exhale, forward fold all the way down. So the feet are nice and wide. Keep the knees bent. Feels nicer for the lower back. And let the head really, really hang. Okay. And inhale for halfway lift. So connect your hands to your legs somewhere. Doesn't matter where, but feel nice in your halfway lift. And then on the exhale, cross the hands over. So just hold opposite leg with opposite hand. Perfect. Keep the halfway lift, and on the inhale, the right hand sweeps all the way up towards the ceiling. Good. Continue to lengthen through your spine, so push your butt back and reach your crown of your head more forward. Deep breath in. And the exhale, slowly lower down. Perfect. Then the left hand lifts all the way up. Deep breath in as you follow the fingertips as they reach towards the ceiling. Keep the belly drawing in, the shoulder blades drawing together. Lengthening the spine, opening through the front of the body. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, slowly lower down. Bend the knees a ton. Inhale all the way up to standing. Nice. Reach the hands wide and high. Take the gaze all the way up. And exhale, hands into the center of the chest. Looking towards the fingertips. Inhale, sweep the hands high. And on the exhale, hinge from the hips again, super slow forward fold all the way down, bending the knees as you go. And then inhale for your halfway lift, just one breath. Perfect. And then exhale to fold. And plant the palms. Take a big step back with the left leg. Nice. And then stay up high on the left fingertips as you inhale, just the right hand sweeps up. So that little twist through the body. And then keep the left leg pushing towards your midline. Nice. Draw the shoulder blades more together. Awesome, guys. Deep breath in. And then on the exhale, lower down. Good. Inhale, both hands reach up. If you want to drop the back knee for your low lunge. If you want to keep it lifted, but both hands lift all the way up. So either a high lunge or a low lunge. Both hands up. Perfect. So both arms up. Nice. And then draw the shoulder blades back down your body. And feel your fingertips reaching higher up. Take a deep breath in. And then on the exhale, lower the hands down. Good. On the inhale, step back to one-legged tabletop. So the right leg comes all the way back. Good. So you're down on your left knee. Down on your left knee. Half balancing tabletop. Perfect. Then inhale, the left hand sweeps up. On the exhale, reach around for your right toes, grabbing hold of the outside edge of the foot. Nice. And then press into your hand. And keep the gaze forward and the chest open to the front of the room. And feel your left shoulder gently drawing towards the back as you feel that extra space in the front. Inhale, back, balancing table. And then exhale, lower down into tabletop. On the inhale, lift the chest. On the exhale, lower down, chest, chin. Stick your butt up super, super high and feel the elbows drawing in towards the sides of your body. Inhale, scoop forward into cobra pose. Maybe hovering the hands, maybe just gently pressing the fingertips into the ground. Exhale and fold. Tuck the toes, inhale for child's pose. And then exhale, lift the butt, lift the hips all the way back up. Perfect. On the inhale, lift the left leg for three-legged dog. And then on the exhale, bend the left knee and open the hips up. So bring your left heel even closer towards your left butt. And keep the chest pressing back towards your right thigh. Strong and even through both of your hands. Great, guys. Deep breath in. On the exhale, take a big step forward outside of the left hand. Nice. And then drop the right knee down, lizard pose. So it's a different side. We don't want to go into this side assuming that what happened on the first side will happen on this side. So move nice and slow. And for the first part, keep the left knee in towards the side of the body. So keep the right leg nice and active. And then feel the hips releasing and softening. So maybe you stay up on your palms on this one. Maybe you are a forearm lizard. Maybe you're just one forearm. Doesn't matter. The first thing that will touch the ground will be the hips if we're coming down. So keep the chest higher than the hips. It's not about getting as close to the ground as we can. We want to feel that release. But we also want to feel the space in the front of the body. We continue to draw the right toes back as the left knee pushes gently forward. Continue to draw the shoulder blades together so we find the opening in the chest. Good, guys. And this is one of them poses where the mind will want to drift off and wonder and be like, it hurts, it's hard, get out of it. Just breathe. Stay with your breath. And allow the body to soften, to release, to open and relax. Second part of the pose, turn the left toes out to like a 45-degree-ish angle. And then let the left knee fall away from the body. And then notice the area around the hips and the glute muscles, if they really tighten and contract, and see if you can soften them just slightly. Keep both of the hips facing forward though, so the chest continues to face forward. We're not pushing the body or forcing it to open. We're just using our breath. And slowly bringing the left knee back in. Keep the toes or the toes facing out like a 45-degree angle. Tuck the right toes and lift the right knee. And then step all the way forward. top of the mat into our little Indo squat again. Nice. And then settling down, so if you need to wiggle the hips or sway, and bring the elbows into the knee creases, gently encouraging the hips open and lifting the chest up. Awesome. Deep breath in. And then on the exhale, the hands come down, toes face forward. Inhale to lift the butt and hips, and exhale to forward fold. And inhale into your halfway lift, keeping the feet again nice and wide. The toes face forward though, so the feet are parallel towards each other. And then exhale, cross the arms over. So bring the opposite hand in front this time, if you remember which one. And then inhale, the right hand sweeps all the way up. Just one breath as you reach high towards the ceiling. And exhale to lower down. Perfect. Then the left one. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Just one breath. Exhale and lower down. Bend the knees a ton. Inhale all the way up to standing. Strong legs, strong core, strong arms, reach high. And on the exhale, hands into the center of the chest. Even weight through both of the feet. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up. On the exhale, hinge from the hips and forward fold. Come all the way down. With one breath, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Plant the palms. Take a big step back with the right leg. High on the right tippy toes. Perfect. The left arm. Inhale. Sweep all the way up. Just one breath. And then exhale and lower down. Good strong through both legs. Inhale. Sweep both of the hands up for high lunge. So feel your inner thighs squeezing towards each other. Exhale. Lower down. And inhale. Step back into plank pose. And then your choice, knees, chest, chin, half chaturanga, full chaturanga, move slow, cobra pose, or upward facing dog. And then exhale all the way back into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in once you arrive. And a deep breath out. And on the inhale, lifting the right leg, three-legged dog, nice and slow. Bend the right knee and open the hip up. So keep even weight in both of your arms and feel your right shoulder dropping just a little bit. So that will help us to get a little bit more twist in the body. Bring your right heel even closer towards your right bum and really reach the right knee up towards the ceiling. Deep breath in. On the exhale, bring the right knee forward, coming into your pigeon pose. So bring the right knee close towards the right wrist. Nice. And then slide the left foot back as far as feels comfy. So it doesn't matter if you are really high pigeon, perfect. Stay up and be a high pigeon. It's better that the hips face forward rather than sort of like jut out to the side. And take your gaze behind. Notice that the right ankle, the knee and the hip is all in one sort of straight line. And then walk your hands back first before you sink into your pigeon. So this gives us a little bit more space and a little bit more length in here first before we just sort of like crunch on down. So find the length on the inhale, and then on the exhale, start to fold forward. So continuing to reach the body forward. And you can rest up on your elbows if that feels nice, depending on what's going on your knee and what's going on in your hip. You might like to make a little pillow with both of your hands. You might like to have palms flat on top of each other and place the forehead there. Notice where your weight is distributed, and if you have majority of it resting in the right butt or the right back of the leg, just see if you can slowly transition a little bit more weight into the left, into the straight leg, and you'll feel it because it'll become a lot more stretchy. So move nice and slow, and then let your body sink in. So without necessarily trying to find a deeper stretch, without trying to find a less of a stretch, just allow yourself to sink into this pose. Continuing to find the length in the back and the space in the front. Slowly making your way up from this pose. Super slow. never being in a rush to come out of the pigeon. And place the hands flat on the ground. We're pressing all the way back to three-legged dog and opening the hip. So tuck the left toes and then lift the left knee, or the right knee, sorry, and open all the way up. Bring the right heel close towards the right butt and lift the right knee higher towards the ceiling. Awesome. Deep breath in. On the exhale, take a big step forward. Big step forward towards the top of the mat. Bring the hands a little bit more forward than the right foot and inhale, halfway lift. Lift the left leg as you come. So draw both of the sides towards each other. Yeah, good side. And then on the exhale, forward fold at the top of the mat. Bend the knees a ton. Inhale all the way up to standing. Feel really strong legs, strong core, strong arms as you reach all the way up. And on the exhale, come straight back down. So forward fold, come straight back down. And on your inhale, halfway lift, just one breath, as you find length in the legs and the arms and the neck. And then exhale to fold. Plant the palms, take a big step back with the left leg. Stay up high on the left tippy toes. Inhale, the right hand sweeps all the way up, just one breath. Strong legs, strong both arms. And then exhale to lower down. Inhale, sweep both of the hands all the way up for a high lunge, watching the fingertips as they rise. Exhale and hands come down. Inhale, step back into your plank pose. And on the exhale again, knees, chest, chin, full chaturanga, half chaturanga, your choice. Inhale for cobra or upward facing dog. Move slow, move with your breath, and all the way back to downward facing dog when you're ready. And take a deep breath in here. And deep breath out. On the inhale, lifting the left leg, three-legged dog. And on the exhale, bend the left knee and open the hip up. Perfect. So bring your left heel even closer towards your left butt. If you want your left toes to be pointed or flexed, it doesn't matter. Point or flex them. And then really anchor through all 10 fingertips into the ground. So if you notice there's like a little gap between the thumb and the pointer finger, really press that area down. It will protect your wrist a lot more. Deep breath in. And then on the exhale, take a big step forward. The left knee comes close to the left wrist for pigeon pose. And then you can start to sort of like shimmy the left foot, I guess, more towards the right. And this will deepen the stretch. So you choose. And start to sink down into your pigeon. But take a little glance behind first. And just notice that the right ankle, knee, hip is in a sort of straightish line. And then lift up first. So before you sink into your pigeon, walk your hands back and find that length. And this gives us a little bit more space in the hips and space in the belly, space in the chest. Deep breath into this. And then on your exhale, start to fold down. And start to come all the way into your sleeping pigeon. I don't know if this is going to help, but this is all we have. I'm going to put a little boxing glove under your butt. I don't know if that might offer a little bit support, but yeah, maybe. If it feels worse, take it out, please.
No.
And it's a different hip, it's a different side of the body on this one. So not assuming that we will sink in, just like we did to the first side. Taking your time, noticing where your weight is distributed. And if the majority of it is in the left leg, and you'll know because you'll be like just hanging flat out on the left butt or the left thigh. So if it is, transfer more weight into the right thigh. And you'll feel the stretch so much more deeper. But it will be a little bit more even. So this is where maybe you have to come up a little bit. But it's better that we have the hips facing the front rather than just sort of collapsing into our pigeon. Awesome, guys. And slowly using your hands to walk all the way back up. Nice. And then tucking the right toes under, pressing all the way back into three-legged dog. So bringing the left leg all the way back and opening the hip up. Now, deep breath in. And on an exhale, take a big step forward towards the left hand. And then bring both of the hands out in front. Inhale into your halfway lift. Lifting the right leg, drawing both of the thighs together so both of the legs are really, really strong. Push your butt more back and reach the crown of your head more forward. Deep breath in. And then exhale, fold at the top of the mat. Bend the knees a ton. Inhale all the way up to standing. All the way up as you reach the hands high and wide. And then exhale, hands into the center of the chest. Looking towards the fingertips. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up. Good. On the exhale, hands come down. Interlace your fingers behind your back. So inhale, open the chest. And then on the exhale, if you're coming down into chair pose, bend the knees a ton. And then place the chest on the thighs. And once your belly rests on your thighs, begin to straighten the legs and reach the arms all the way overhead. So keep the knees bent. And if you can, keep the belly on the thighs. And this offers just a little bit more protection and support for the lower back. And don't worry about how far away your hands come from your lower back. Doesn't matter, it's not important. Focus on the breath. Deepening and slowing the breath. And this, over time, will gently release the shoulders. To come out of this pose, bend the knees a ton. Bring the hands back to the lower back. Sweep the fingers along the ground. And inhale all the way up, chair pose. Look towards your fingertips. Perfect. Then on the exhale, sit all the way down. Sit all the way down onto your butts. Good. Knees and all. Inhale up to easy boat pose. So flex your toes or flare them. Flare them or floint them or spread them. Press the big toes together and spread the rest of the toes. And then draw the knees more in towards the chest. Reach the fingertips out in front, but draw the shoulder blades back. Find more length. Deep breath in. And then on the exhale, butterfly pose. So clasp the fingertips around the toes. And bring the heels in for this first part, nice and close. So either if you have to draw your heels in with your hands, or if you bring your hands behind and actually lift your butt up and draw it in. But just be careful. Be super, super careful of the knees. Good. And then wherever you are in the pose, tilt your pelvis just a little bit more forward. And we find that brings back sort of the natural curve of the spine and gives us a little bit more room in here. Good. We're coming into a forward fold as you draw the shoulders down and back. Deep breath in for the length. And then on the exhale, slowly start to forward fold. And it's common when we forward fold to kind of do this, like from the head. And be like, yes, but I'm getting down. I'm so close. It's irrelevant how far the head comes down. We want to close up from the belly first. So the first thing that should be touching the ground or coming close will be your belly towards your heels, I guess. We want to keep the space. The head will be the last thing that comes down. And I know it's common, right? Like when I used to do exercise class or not like step class, but like cardio and stuff, I don't know, back then whenever you used to do it, it used to be like head to knee pose sort of thing, right? Like that was kind of I don't know, I used to be a runner, and that's the way they used to make us stretch. It was like, just get your head down. So it didn't matter if the back was all curvy, just get the head down and you'll get the stretch. Not necessarily true now, the more I sort of work out and find out a bit more about the muscles. So keep the chest lifted and keep the back nice and long. You'll feel the stretch way deeper than you ever will if you just focus on getting the head down. And use your inhale nice and slowly. Come all the way back up. And then the second part of the pose, take the feet as far away from you as they will go. So as far away. And they kind of just get to a spot where it doesn't necessarily stretch anymore, but that's just where they go. And then hold on somewhere below the knees, above the ankles. And those little arches of your feet, that's where your forehead is aiming for. So hopefully that then gives us that sort of length. Rather than this, we just want to get our head down and we sort of collapse into the pose. So maybe you come super, super close to your inner arches. Maybe you're like, no, this is it, this is my forward fold. Awesome. But keep that in mind, that that's sort of where we're aiming for to find that length. So tilt the pelvis more forward, find that length in the back of the body, and then on the exhale, start to hinge forward. And this more so as the outer hips can still reach around and get into the hip flexors, the inner thighs, maybe into the glutes. Move slow. You can tuck the chin into the chest and take the gaze like between the knees or towards the belly button, but just be mindful that that doesn't encourage the shoulders to slump forward. Move nice and slow. And then the slower that you move, and when you really let yourself sort of like sink into this position, hopefully you can feel like that nice release in the lower back. So draw your belly in just a little bit to offer a little bit more protection for your lower back. You feel the knees gently opening out towards the side as your hips slowly release. Not because they're under any force, just with your breath. So breathe maybe even a little slower or a little deeper, a little more consciously. And these forward folds, maybe not letting one breath enter or exit without you being fully aware. And then see how that sort of softens you more into the pose. Whereas maybe all of our attention and awareness was like, oh, it's uncomfortable, but my back is tight, I don't want to do it. If we focus on our breath, before we know it, we've taken like 5 more breaths or 7 more breaths or 20 more breaths, and we're like, oh, I did find comfort in the pose. And slowly starting to lift your body back up, super slow, just to not shock the lower back. And then bring the feet back in a little bit closer again. Take a little peek behind. Hopefully there's enough room. And then just let your body recline all the way back. So all the way back. And then holding either opposite wrists or opposite elbows above your head. Gently pressing the soles of the feet together. And if you notice that there's this really big arch in your lower back, just tilt your pelvis up a little bit and feel more of that connection of your lower back towards the ground. Not so that like you're compressing your back in, but just so there's a little bit extra support. And then breathing into this. And slowly drawing the knees towards each other. It's one of them little tickles that just won't go. And then from here, placing the right ankle directly over the left knee or the left thigh. So kind of like a reclining pigeon or a figure 4 leg. Good. And then thread your hands through, grabbing hold of either the back of the left thigh or the front of the left shin. And then as you draw the left leg in, maybe resist the right knee with the right elbow. So if there's a little bit more room, as the left knee draws in, the right knee will be gently pressed away. Feel both of your shoulders fairly even and both of your butts fairly even on the ground. Not too much pulling or pressure with your hands around the left leg. Just a nice soft grip. Focusing completely on the breath. And then releasing your legs down, but keep the leg variation. So keep the legs exactly as they are. As you place the left sole of the foot back on the ground. Good. Take the hands out to the side, kind of like near the shoulders. And then let just both knees fall over towards the left side. So the right sole of the foot will come flat onto the ground. So the right sole of the foot will come flat onto the ground. Both knees over to the left. And then draw the right knee a little bit further away from your body. So if it wants to like sort of fall in towards you, just bring it more towards the front of the room. And feel how that opens then through the front of the right hip. And feel your right butt then sinking a little further towards the ground. And feeling then how this sort of gentle movement can allow a little bit more space in the hip. So rather than drawing the knee in, it might fall out, but it mightn't. Draw the knee more towards the front and keep the sole of the feet flat on the ground. Is that alright? Yeah. And then feel like your right butt sinking. Yeah. Perfect, guys. And then use your inhale, slowly come back to center. And keep the leg variation exactly as it is, but just let the knees now fall all the way over to the other side. And now the right foot will be hooked on top of the left thigh. And it will be gently drawing down now on the opposite hip. So take your gaze towards the left. If that feels good, that just helps to encourage the twist a little bit more too. And feel both of the knees sinking towards the ground. No pressure, no forcing, no fighting, just the weight of that right foot is usually enough to gently encourage the hip open. And feel now your left butt sinking further towards the ground. And you feel that sort of release in the back of the hip. Use your inhale breath to slowly come back to center. And then cross the legs over the opposite way. So now you'll take your left ankle over top of your right thigh for the reclining pigeon first. And then draw your hands underneath and grab hold of either the back of the right thigh or the front of the right shin. Doesn't matter which part that you take hold of. Feel both of the shoulders quite relaxed on the ground. And then as you draw the right knee in, maybe resist the left knee. So gently just sort of press your left elbow away from you. And that in turn will encourage the left knee to move away from you. And then breathing into whatever stretch, whatever sensation you feel here. And without trying to deepen it or lessen it, just let your body really feel what it needs to feel in this moment. Allowing the muscles to relax. And release the legs and bring the hands out to the sides. And place the right sole of the foot back flat on the ground. And then let both of the knees fall over towards the right side. So this time the left sole of the foot is flat on the ground. And if you feel like the left knee is closing in on you, sort of like making the crease in the hip smaller, draw it away. So the left knee comes more towards the front of the room. And this will help to increase the stretch. So it might feel better, it might feel a little bit too stretchy. So you'll change it and bring it a little bit closer. So increasing that space in the left hip. And breathing into this area as you feel the left butt maybe coming a little closer towards the ground. And it might have been tightening up, contracting without you even realizing. So soften through the left butt and then notice how maybe that gives you a little bit more space in the left hip. And then use your inhale, slowly come back to center. Keep the legs exactly as they are, but just let them fall all the way over to the left side. And then take the gaze towards the right, if that feels good for the neck. Perfect, guys. And then feel that stretch. Feel that release through the front of the right hip. And feel your right butt being a little bit heavier onto the ground. Does this feel good for your shoulders? So if you can straighten this one out, if that feels a little bit better. Yeah? Yeah? And the same with this one too. Yeah? Does that feel a bit better? Yeah. Oh, good. And so then with every inhale breath, feel the breath filtering into this right hip and right thigh, right side of your body. And every exhale, feel maybe your body lowering closer towards the ground as your muscles release and relax. And then use your inhale, slowly come back to center. Bring both of the knees into the chest. and hugging them in nice and tight. Give them a little squeeze. If it feels nice to roll from side to side, take little tiny rolls from side to side or make circles with your knees. Anything that feels good to release the hips and release the back. And then taking one more pose before our final pose. Bringing the knees in and out to the sides and coming into a happy baby pose. So you can stay as a low happy baby, I guess. I don't know if that's its real name, but we'll call it that. So the feet don't have to be all the way up towards the ceiling. If it feels nice just to have the knees wide and the feet relaxed, feel free to take this happy baby. If it feels better to take the soles of the feet all the way up, take hold of anywhere behind the back of the thighs, the lower part of the legs, any part of the sole of the feet. Maybe you want to grip your big toes. It doesn't matter. And then tuck the chin into the chest a little bit and press your butt into the ground a little bit. So sometimes in a happy baby, just to grab hold of our feet, we might notice our butt really lifts off of the ground and rounds, and that can be a lot of weight in our lower back, our lumbar spine sort of area. So lower your butt down. Feel more evenly the whole length of your back on the ground. And then bending the knees out to the sides. It was as if they were going to touch the ground either side of you near your underarms. And if your soles of your feet are up towards the ceiling, then they're really up there. The whole sole of the foot is facing up towards the ceiling. So the ankles stack over the knees. And if it feels nice to sway in this pose, gently sway. But again, if all of the weight is in your lower back, if your butt is too lifted, swaying is probably going to feel horrible. So if it does, please either don't sway, or please either just put your butt a little further on the ground. And any leg variations that you want to make, so if you want to stretch both legs out towards the sides, maybe that feels really, really good for the inner thighs. And if you want to bend one knee so that one heel comes in really close towards your butt, I think it's called sort of like archer legs, maybe this feels nice. Maybe you bend both knees so you come into sort of like a reclining butterfly. Maybe both legs go directly up towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter what you do in your happy baby. Any last little movements that feel good to release the body and relax the body. And gradually and slowly drawing the knees into the chest and giving them a really big squeeze in. So lifting the head and neck off of the mat, bringing your forehead to touch your knees and rounding the shoulders, really squeezing the knees in. And feel that connection of your thighs towards your belly, and squish and scrunch everything. So point or flex the toes, and squish the thighs together, squeeze the calves together, draw your belly in, round your shoulders, and really grip your fingertips. Squish up your face, wrinkle the nose, and clench the jaw. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale slowly. Unravel into your Savasana. Taking the feet, if they're coming in the traditional Savasana, taking them nice and wide. You have tons of space, so let's use it. Bringing your hands anywhere you like. If they're down by your sides, face the palms up towards the ceiling and make space in your underarms. If they're resting on your body, then really let them rest. You don't need to use your arm strength to hold them here. Tuck the chin into the chest just a tiny bit. And let your whole body sink into the mat. Giving yourself this gift of rest and relaxation. A time and a space where your body and mind can completely absorb the benefits of the practice. very gradually, guys, starting to feel your breath deepen. Slowly start to reawaken your body by making little movements with the fingers and with the toes. You're starting to tune back in to the world around you. Keeping this little flicker of movement in the fingers and in the toes. And gradually making your movements a little larger. Until eventually you take a big overhead stretch, lengthening the body out entirely. And breathing into all of this space. And then on the exhale, draw the knees into the chest. And if you can keep your eyes closed, keep them closed as you roll gently and slowly over onto your right side. And curl up and pause here for just a moment. Feeling the body a little more relaxed. The mind a little more relaxed. Maybe even the breath a little more relaxed. And feeling this connection between body, mind and breath. Heart, spirit and soul. Your entire being a little more in harmony. When you're ready, using your hands to gently press yourself up, coming to sit in any comfy position. And then connecting the hands together at the center of the chest once you arrive. And lifting the chest just slightly. And bowing the head just slightly. So that heart and brain become a little more connected. Bringing both of your thumbs and resting them in between your eyebrows, gently pressing into your third eye. So that may your thoughts always be calm and be clear. And then bring your thumbs to rest on your lips. May your words always be kind and always be true. And then bring the thumbs to rest in the center of the chest. So that may you always act from a place of love and from a place of peace. Namaste.